Hi everyone, welcome to another week of Check It Out, where I recommend titles that you can learn from, connect with, and explore. This week's title is A Place to Belong by Cynthia Kadoharta. This is a historical fiction book. There are a couple of illustrations in it, and those illustrations are done by Julia Coe. And let's see if I can find one for you. I really liked, they're very simple illustrations, and they're very kind of few and far between. But I really liked what they added to the story. And I wanted to mention that there is an illustrator associated with this book. But like I said, this is a historical fiction book. World War II has just ended, and Hanako and her family have been living in a Japanese internment camp for the past few years. And now she and her family are going to be expatriated to Japan to live with her grandparents who she's never met. This is really kind of a difficult situation to be in. Hannah, as she's known by her family, and her brother Akira were born in the United States, and that makes them American citizens. But they are going with their parents back to Japan, even though all that they've ever known is how to be American. So the title, A Place to Belong, really resonates because Hannah isn't sure where she belongs. When they were living in America, she was born American, raised American, worked in her father's American restaurant, and was by all means American. And now she has to go to Japan, where she has to learn how to be Japanese and learn a little bit more about her culture from her grandparents and get to know them a little bit more. She and her family are being located, are being taken or moved to Hiroshima, Japan. And this is after the atomic bomb has been dropped. So Hannah and her family are seeing the effects of the atomic bomb firsthand. And not only is the landscape completely decimated, it's just burned. But the people there, they're broken, they're burned, they're starving, they're sad. It's a very hopeless scenario to be in. And she sees these what they call war orphans everywhere, just people who are just trying to survive. It's very desperate. And Hannah and her family, who are coming from these internment camps, already have so little that when she's kind of met on the streets of Hiroshima by these kids, she wants to give to them, but she has nothing to give, or very little to give. And she kind of grapples with this question of, I myself don't have enough for my family, but how do I provide for those who have even less? And she tries to, and sometimes there's not always a right answer for that. Her little brother, she wants to take care of him and make sure that he has enough to eat because he's starving as well. And they end up bartering, their rations because they're American citizens. They do get rations of butter and sugar, and they end up bartering those for rice on the black market. I mean, that's just how severe things have gotten. There aren't enough resources to go around. But while this book is kind of tough to deal with, it deals with a very difficult subject matter in a gentle way. And the writing is really beautiful. And the story of Hannah creates a lot of empathy. It makes the subject matter more accessible for the reader, which I really enjoyed. I wanted to learn more about what the Japanese internment camps were like. I wanted to learn more about the Japanese experience post-World War II. So this book really gives great insight into that. Themes in this book: respect. There's a lot about respect for self, respect for your elders. There's a lot about broadening your worldview beyond just your immediate family, which is a lesson that Hannah learns throughout the book. A lot about cultural heritage. One of my favorite parts of this book was when the grandfather talks to her about this style of art called kintsukuroi. And it's when a piece of pottery is broken, they repair it with some lacquer, and then they paint those cracks gold, and it ends up making the pottery even more beautiful. The process of fixing it makes it even more beautiful than it was to begin with. And I took that lesson to heart, and I thought about the characters in the book that were even more beautiful after they had undergone these really difficult things. I really enjoyed this book overall. It was a really great book. And I want to suggest my read-alikes. Echo. This is a wonderful story about kind of stories intertwining together, about different experiences, how we come together. I want to do a book talk on this later on in the year, so we'll be talking a little bit more about that. And if you want to learn a little bit more about World War II and personal experience, The War That Saved My Life, this is a really great book about family and identity, which are also themes in A Place to Belong. So with that, I hope you found something to book up your week. Thanks, everyone.